Good and fair evening, my friends. Welcome back to the tavern. It's good to see you all. Oh, we have Milo, we have Erin, we have Christy. We have Matty, we have Teresa, we have Kemian. Welcome in, my friends. It's good to see you all. Waffle time indeed. Yeah, I actually managed to get back in time, and the lady is finishing up a long story time for you all, sitting right across from me. So as soon as she's done, she will come and give you all the story that you all long for. Mother Nature has made up her mind. She's freezing me. Waffle, 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 waffle. I have a question for you guys. I know there's not many folk in yet, but I'm figured we'll talk about these things. Alea Windsong is a fascinating name. Welcome to the tavern. Is it Alea or Alea? Alaya. Alaya. Windsong. Dean, good evening. Welcome in, my friend. Now you all won't have to endure me for long. Alea? It could be Alea. Alia. Alia sounds right. That sounds about right. Georgia, hello and good evening. Welcome in. Just popped in to say hello. Can't stay long. That's all right, Mary Beth. I won't be here long either. Eric A. Poe, good tidings, my friend. Good to see you. Feelings offline. Hello, over on Kick. You got it on the last try, so Elia. Alright. We have a character in Twisted Fates who is called Eliana, and her name is spelled similarly. I hope you're having a good and safe night, the goodest and safest night that I could possibly have. We are in the process of crafting some story times, and I'm excited about that. Mortifer Azrael, what a name! Hello, welcome in. So I have a question for you all. I took a vote a little while back on what sort of story time, and some of you this is not going to matter to, because some of you don't know that we do story times elsewhere. But for those Bear, welcome in, brother. Good to see you. I keep seeing all of you post pictures of the snow where you are. I would be in heaven in any of those places. I need snow in my life badly. There are a lot of people justifiably so panicking about the freeze that's coming in from the East Coast, and I hope that everyone is safe. I hope you're all taking care of yourselves. Make sure that you are staying in contact with your neighbors as best you can, checking on any neighbors who live alone or who are elderly. Those are all things that are very important for community. Make sure you're doing those things. But I would trade places with any of you in a second. Even you could be buried under 15 feet of snow. I'll trade places with you. We're still fluffy falling stuff. My tires have ice on them. I've only been to Alaska twice. I liked it both times. And if I could open the tavern feasibly in Alaska, I would. Sadly, I don't think that it's really a feasible option. But I do love Alaska. Alaska's beautiful. When the lady and I were talking about places to move, because currently we live in Southern California, when we were talking about places to move, Alaska was one of our top considerations. They have beautiful land. The prices are not exorbitant, but import costs and things like that make it much more difficult for us to run the tavern in such a place. Frostbeard, my friend, welcome in. Good to see you. Winter sucks, to be honest. A lot of people feel that way. See, I grew up in Southern Ireland. Part of my time out near the coasts in Wicklow and part of my time inland in Limerick, for the most part. Kind of lived all over, but those were the two places I spent the most time. Then my last 2 years there, I was in Belfast with my grandfather. And then I spent a year living in Oslo. So I've only ever lived in cold, wet places. And then for about, or at least as a child, as a child and a young man. Now, I've lived in California for so long, and I've never gotten used to it. The heat murders me every single summertime. Like, it's 55 degrees outside now and it's in the winter. I had 55-degree summers in Ireland. Bless you, my love. Marsha Brunner says, good evening, it's very cold here, -2 with the wind chill -35. See, that's swimming weather. That's like go out and jump in the water weather. We are under a state emergency due to the snow. We have at least 12 inches. It's 15 degrees. Yeah, and again, I want to emphasize, I'm not making light of it. You all need to make sure that you're being safe. You all need to make sure that you have your supplies. Don't panic, buy things. That's dumb. Buy the things you know you're going to need, and buy enough that you can last for as long as you need to, wherever. And make sure you're checking on your neighbors if you're able. Those things are very, very important. But still, I would trade places with any of you. I want the cold so bad. They haven't said anything to us yet about coming in. I'm not going. I won't receive. Yeah, it's not. If you have ice on the roads, Aaron, it's most definitely not worth it. Elias says, same here. I made a mistake last week. Not doing that this week. Yeah, you got to be very, very careful. And Shasta is covered right now, I would imagine. Apparently, people panic shopped here. Yeah, it happens everywhere. I don't understand why. Like, first of all, the longest storms in recent history, like you'll be snowed in for a week, right? Like those are the longest ones in recent history. So if you have enough supplies to last you 4 times that, that's more than enough. So don't go out and buy 30 gallons of milk. You're not going to need that, and it's just going to end up going bad. You just use your head. Use your head when you're going out to. I figured that's what you meant, Christy. I have become very keen at reading mistypes. Mortimer, you said you and Tank Tolman should do a duo. You two, to me at least, seem like you guys would be friends. I think that Tank is the guy who yells hammer, yes? He's the Viking guy. Is that... Lovey, do you know who Tank Tolman is? Isn't he the bald gentleman with the beard who yells hammer and talks about like buying warriors for the ship? Isn't that him? You'll forgive me. I don't spend a whole lot of time. The lady and I make over 300 stories a year, story videos, and we also write books and do it. So I don't spend a whole lot of time consuming content. So I don't know a whole lot of the other creators that do storytelling or that are do these sort of things. We barely got a dusting here. I was hoping for more. See, I'm with you there, Frost. Yesterday I was back up a battery-operated air bubbler for the boys' fish tank, and enough batteries to run it for 48 hours. That was it. Oh, and a bag of milk we ran out. Yeah, see, there you go. Esther, hello. Castle's 98 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm unaffected as I am in the air conditioning. See, Esther, we're in the same boat as you. It's warm, and I would prefer it be cold, to be perfectly honest. We got a bunch of milk, but we use a bunch of milk. Well, that's true. That's fair. We drink a lot of milk too, so like I generally have about like 6 half gallons in our fridge because we use it a lot for cooking, and I drink a lot of milk just on my own. I like most of my meals are liquid because I have to have over 200 grams of protein a day, and it's hard to take that in because I'm not much of a snacker or eater. Yeah, it's the hammer guy. That's what I thought. So yeah, all right. Tank Tolman is the hammer guy. He's the hammer guy. Okay. Hammer Ken, hello, welcome in. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, we don't often talk about doing collaborations with other people, but I'm open to them. It's just the lady and I spend so much time making stories that we don't really spend a whole lot of time like watching other things or talking to people, except for you guys here in the tavern. It's no earlier in the month. It's just cold now, and I don't even need it to be super cold. I would just be glad if it were like 30 degrees here, because that's so much better. It should be winter here, but it's 55 degrees outside, and after some light work, I start sweating. Because for me, anything over 60 degrees, I will sweat casual. Like I'll just sweat. And anything over like 45 degrees, if I'm working, again I'll sweat because I'm a big man. Jessica, hello. I didn't see you. You got lost in my little phase there. We're predicting 20 inches of snow between today and tomorrow. I did my normal weekly grocery shopping, which is, yeah. I again like. There's no reason to panic buy unless you have a relative certainty that there's something really terrible going to happen. And most of the time, that's not going to happen. And if anything terrible does happen, having extra milk's probably not going to help. Uh, Ice on the lake. Where are you? Whereabouts are you from, Elia? If you don't mind sharing with the tavern. Castle should be. Yeah, I read that already. Most of my meals are liquid as well. Yeah. Well, Bear, are you talking? Are you talking about? Are you talking about actual meals? Or are you talking about the barley? Serenity Hills, Mount Hello, and welcome in. Powder is on. I have coffee, so I'm good. Well, yeah, that's really all you need. Kimberly Nonella says, I love your coffee. Well, thank you kindly. Welcome into the tavern. I am Castle. This is my tavern, and here talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. And every now and again, I read you all a story. I will not be reading to you all tonight. Oh, we've got another. What is it? I say Hoser, but another Canuck. So we got so many Canadians in the tavern. I'm impressed we haven't lost power, to be honest. The little things, right? Very unbothered by the weather as a New Englander. Oh, Jessica, I don't know that I knew that you were a New Englander. My eldest sister is a Mainer. She lives up in Maine. So it's not super close, but you guys are in the same general area. A sandwich in every beer, says Ken. I drink some coffee too. Oh, I see, Bear. I'm hungry now. Well, that'll happen a lot, and we tend to spend a lot of time talking about food. Oh, Massachusetts. Yeah, well, it's still relatively close to Maine. Closer to Maine than California is to Washington, anyways. Every morning we have to defrost the windshield before I take Emmy to school. I make fire in the wood stove, and that would be very enjoyable for me, Chris, because that's how I grew up. I kind of miss doing that. I'm impressed. Oh, I already read that. I drink coffee too. Sanders a beard. Also, what do you think of my name? Look it up if you don't know what it means. Mortifer, I don't know. Azrael is an angel from the Torah or the Talmud or something. I don't know I don't know if I know what Mortifer is. I will be here briefly. I'm quite tired and that's quite all right, Esther. I'm keeping you all entertained until the lady can drop in with you. Mr. Yeager was gifted a sub by the legendary Irewolf. Irewolf, hello and welcome in, my friend. So very glad that you could join us. Bread is just the sad tale of grains that could have been beer. Oh, Bear, you are. I don't actually think Jaeger is in. I think Irewolf gifted a sub. Are you in here, my friend? Just. What you, baby? Did you mean what do, baby? How's it going, Jaeger? Wait, hang on. What happened? Hang on. Jaeger gifted it to Irewolf. So thank you, Jaeger. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Thank you, Jaeger, for gifting a sub to Irewolf. Jaeger is also Leshen. Azrael means angel of death. Oh, so there you go. So Mortifer. Well, Mort probably has some foundation in the Latin, right? Of like mortis, something like that. Time for me to go. Stay safe. Good night, Marybeth. Rest well, and may you rise tomorrow ready to face the day. Castle is not reading, Bobby. The lady is still reading. I'm just waffling with you all until she's ready to go. She's finishing up crafting a story for everyone. Very unbothered by the weather in Massachusetts. Huh? Do you think it's too late to even gift them with your presents? This is obviously the wrong night to share real quick, but the Harry Potter play was so much fun. I missed last Thursday time because I planned to share feedback then. So did you enjoy? So because you went to see it for Tom, right? You went to see it because Tom was in it, and undoubtedly he wait. Am I remembering correctly? Felton, what's Draco Malfoy's actor's name? Tom Felton. That's what I thought. Yes, we went last weekend. He was wonderful. See, that's brilliant. Time for me to go too. See you soon, bro. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mortifer. It's my absolute pleasure. I'm very glad that you dropped in, and I will look forward to seeing you back again for another story time. Fubar27, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Welcome in. So very glad you could join us. Mort is death. Just read Pratchett. Well, yeah, that's what Mort is. The like it means. It has a root in the Latin for death. I just don't remember what the full word is. Jäger, my son. It's good to see you. I'm glad you dropped in. Tom Vilton. Castle, it's been dead set hot, so I've been able to take Elsie up the hill without feeling like I might collapse. I'm really looking forward to winter extreme heat on top of hot. Yeah, I'm with you there, Esther. I'm with you there. Would definitely recommend 9 out of 10. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the transparent. Ken from Facebook just realized you were on Twitch. Yes. So for anyone who is in who's never been in before, again, I'm Castle. This is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. And every now and again, I will read to you. Tonight, the wife was going to read to you. It seems like she's bailing on you guys, though. I don't want to guilt anybody, but it seems like she's bailing on you guys. She says she. She says she doesn't love you guys. That's what she just. The thing that she said across. She says she doesn't love you guys anymore. That's what she said. Everyone, I'm heading home from watching a Seahawks game at my mom's. Spectacular, Tyson. I hope you had fun. I'm glad you're doing this today. Your voice is relaxing. Well, thank you, Amber. Welcome in. I'm glad you could join us. Amber says, no, she can't bail. Kemian says, oh no. Erin says, who won? I was looking forward to hearing the story. everybody's weeping. They're all crying. It is. That's true. It is already 10 o'clock on the East Coast. What was I saying? Oh, if any of you are interested, we do open the portals on multiple platforms, so you can find your way into the tavern through Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, or through TikTok. Whatever your preferred viewing experience is, you can drop in through any of those. And if you like the conversation, you like to be a part of the hubbub, typically TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook have the most active chats and the most patrons in them. So if you really want to be in the thick of it, Twitch is the place to be, because that's where most folks are going to be having conversation. And Milu is popping in to say, if anyone likes festivals, they have a book on Amazon. Yes, we do. My wife and I come from a very traditional family back home in Ireland, and we celebrate more of a traditional, old-fashioned version of festivals that are very unique to our family. This is not necessarily traditions of all of the Norse Gaelic peoples, but this is the traditions of my family. And if you are interested in how we celebrate them, we wrote a little handbook a couple of years ago, and you can get it on Amazon, order in the tavern shop. Quirt, hello, good evening, tavern goers. Good evening, my friend. I gotta just realized you said who won. Bear says he feels unloved. It's reasonably priced and great. Thank you, Milu. Appreciate you. Yes. So it's mostly just it's not exhaustive. It's a little handbook with a basics on each of the modern festivals, and we included their modern names with their most well-known by today, so that people would be able to recognize them, as well as some recipes and games and things that we play seasonally in the back. I don't have a link for it. It was saying we got 20 inches. I don't believe that. But fair enough. Just looking for now, letting the pain meds work more. That's alright, Matty. Do what you gotta do, me son. That's alright. Real quick, before we get too deep into this, I was gonna ask a question to, I put out a poll. If you're in any of the broadcast channels on, like the Facebook portal or Instagram, I put out a poll asking what you guys were most interested in. Did the same thing over in Discord. And unanimously, you guys said Celtic folklore. Like, that was pretty much the top in all of them. It's 114 degrees in Fahrenheit in Melbourne tomorrow. That's dreadful. That sounds awful. That sounds like a no-no, Esther. Sounds like not a place anybody should be. I can't imagine being in that. So one of the things that I wanted to do, and again, this is going to be boring for some of you because I'm not sure how many of you watch the story times that we do that are not live. Gigi, hello! We got another Canadian in over on the Facebook portal. I won't be there. Yeah, even if you were Esther, I would say leave. That's how I feel about any below zero. See, below zero, I understand if you don't want to be in below zero, but for me, like, the ideal temperature for existing is like between 30 and 60 degrees. As long as it's not terribly windy. Okay, so to the question. I want to start out this because we're doing a bunch of long story times. These are going to be like 19 to 30, or I should say 12 to 30 minute long story times. These are going to be our reintroduction to doing long stories. We haven't done them in a while. The first one that I'm putting out is an explanation of the Celtic nations, like what they are, who they were, and whereabouts they were. Would you guys like? Because what I have written for that is an 8-episode series. Each one would be somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes long. Would you guys like that series released uninterrupted, or would you like it released interlaced with mythological episodes? So, like, for instance, we're talking about the Celtic nations, then we go and we talk about, like, what lore exists around, say, the Dagda, or even broader, we could do one around the Tuatha De Danann or the Fomorians. Or would you like the Celtic nations videos explaining, like, who the Celts were, why they were called that, and where they existed, who they interacted with, telling the history of the Celtic peoples that we consider to be Celts, telling those stories uninterrupted, or do them interspersed with videos that are based off of the mythology? And Gigi says, yes, you're very interesting, but it's normal weather here. Kimberly Nanella says, I'm close to Canada, LOL, I'm in Indiana. That is very close. It's interlaced. I think whatever is easier for you and the lady is how it should be released, because you both do so much. That's one of the reasons why I'm asking what you guys are going to be, more interested in. Kimberly says interlaced. Esther says, yes, I have heaps of family. Oh, that was not for me. Yes, Celtic folklore, watch all the story times. Yes, I'm interested in whatever you put out. Perfect on in the background, and yes, it would. Uninterrupted, history, and then myth. Okay, have a good night, everyone. Popped in to see what was going on. All right, Bobby, I appreciate you. Have a good night. Rest well. I think the mythos does a lot of quiet shaping of the culture and history, so having the mythology interspersed, I think, can add a lot of context. And I agree, quote, because originally how I had it written out. By the way, Twitch, they're gonna force us to run ads here in a couple of minutes. Once the timer depletes, I'll stop talking and let the ad run, and then, well, I'll stop talking about this, what we're talking about now, and then we'll go there. Interlace with precision if you think it needs to. Interlace them, please, says Kevin. I'm heading out. Good night. Good night, Jaeger, brother. I appreciate you for dropping in. Thank you for the gifted sub. Rest well. We'll talk soon, alright? I'm a research and knowledge buff. I love the idea of interlace, but if you think it'd be easier all at one time, I definitely watch. It'll be the same either way. Because initially this was going to be 3 videos, and then the lady brought up something to me that ended up making it 8 videos. So she does this to me all the time. We'll be talking about a project that'll be nearly done, and she'll go, well, but what about this thing that you forgot? And I'm like, God damn it. All right, well, now I have to include this thing. It's the problem is that we work too well together, so she'll bring up something to me, and it creates this whole other avenue of work that I have to do. I keep that book on my coffee table for seasonal inspiration. I'm glad, Jessica. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's something the lady and I, we're probably going to put out a extended version of it to go along when we get the cookbook done. Would be interesting if you interlace lore for each clan as you go. And that was sort of my thinking. Alright guys, we're going to end up in ads here in a second, and then we'll come back to the conversation in just a moment. Thank you for waiting it out, I appreciate you. That sounds like Nello. Yeah, so I was, while we're waiting for the ads to finish over on Twitch, and then we'll come back to talking about the series, I'm here for all of it. We hadn't done long story times in a while because we wanted to get consistent putting out the short ones every single day, and now we do that. And the 2 things that we've struggled with is consistently putting out long story times and members call. I don't like the idea of you guys having to pay for anything. At least, like, not videos, right? Like, if I write a book, which we're in the process of writing several books, if I write a book and put it out and you guys want to buy it, that's one thing. It's a direct trade. And I know that there are a bunch of folk in the tavern who will push back on me for this, but I like the idea of if I make a story time, it can get to as many people as possible. And I don't know why that's what I prioritize, but I feel like if we put all of this effort into making this story time, I want it to be available for people to watch. And we've just had trouble with that, so we've now finally got to a point where we know what we're putting out for members content, we know what we're putting out for long content, because I don't want to put anything behind a paywall, if I'm being honest. If eventually we have like our own thing, maybe, but for right now, I just want to be able to make things and you guys put them out. Well, put them out. We put them out, and you guys be able to watch them. So this series is going to be our reintroduction into putting out long story times. And when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, well, I just want to talk about like who the Celtic nations were, where they got their name, and basically like who they interacted with throughout history. And then she goes, oh, well, you should mention that there were over 2,000 different dialects that fall underneath the Celtic umbrella. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't think of that. And it opens up so many other pathways of things that need to be mentioned. Like why the languages were split. What is the difference between this type of Celtic umbrella language and this type of Celtic language umbrella? And there was just so many things that ended up cropping up because of that one little comment. So now it ends up being an eight video long series. But what I want to do, as someone suggested, is interlace relative folklore, long videos and short videos, in with it as we're going along. So that way it's more of a complete experience. You're learning about multiple things each day throughout the process of us putting out these story times. And obviously I'll break it up a little bit. I don't like, I realized just the other day that I've been putting out way too many Norse story times this last week. So I'll be breaking those up a little bit this next week because I get on a roll with writing out these stories, and if I'm like, oh well, this one and then this one and then this one, and then I don't realize that I've written, 4 or 5 in a row that are dreadfully similar, and I don't ever want to bore you guys. So the idea is to make sure you get as much variety as you can in your diet when it comes to story time in the tavern. Did I miss anything that was intended? I know there was a lot of conversations going on. Did I miss anything that was intended for me? Oh, Christy said both options sounds great. You do amazing stories. I like to hear the background history as well as the myth. Well, I think the thing that Court brought up is very relevant. Is that the stories, history tends to tell us what we know about what happened, but myth tends to tell us how people thought about what happens. So in those instances, we have to make sure that we are giving each point its due diligence. We want to make sure that these stories are being presented in the academic way, but also providing the cultural nuance. Because what ends up happening a lot is that stories get flattened by history. Historians and archaeologists, they want to flatten it into their plane. Like everything is archaeological, everything is historical. Jessica says, I'm here for all of it. I appreciate you, love. I appreciate you. Historians, they want it all to be, it's all historical narrative. And folklorists want it all to be folklore. But what this ends up doing is it ends up flattening people out, and it ends up doing an injustice to what actually happened. Esther says, I'm a passionate about wildlife and photography and videos, and enjoy working with many other people. Many people appreciate viewing wildlife content, and I do not seek financial compensation. In under 24 hours, I achieved 2,000 views and 100 or 18,000 followers, but I'm not concerned about the number of followers. I simply enjoy sharing my work. Well, and that's a big part of why the lady, and congratulations, Esther. There's a big part of why the lady and I do things the way that we do. We were doing this when we only had 10 people who were watching, because it was something that we enjoy. It was something we enjoy doing. I'm a classically trained storyteller. My wife she's an animator and a digital artist, and we enjoy telling stories. It's something that both of us love to do. She had always intended to someday do something along the lines of like animated storytelling, and I came back to storytelling accidentally. Something's very much a part of my family and our culture, but it's something that I had fallen away with for a good deal of time, and only in recent years have I really come back to it. But I had never really intended on making a living doing what I'm doing now. And it's only because of you guys that we're making a living at it at all, and all of it is from just views and whatnot. But we're now getting to a point where the demand is so high that if we're going to keep doing it, we have to make money at it, which is it's one of those things that it bothers me. Like I would rather just be able to do it and not have to have any financial exchange go on, but that's not really how it works. At some point we have to, in order to be able to maintain and continue and to make better stories. I want to make better stories for you guys. Brian says, "What are your views on Krampusnacht?" It's a night about Krampus. What exactly are you asking, Brian? I don't have any particular views. When I tell stories, I try to tell them as faithfully as possible. I don't really put a whole lot of my own opinion into the things that I do or say when it comes to storytelling. If you want to come in here and ask my perspective on different types of storytelling and media, I'll give you my perspective, which I try to keep as objective as possible. Obviously, I'm not going to be completely unbiased. It's impossible to be completely unbiased. But I will give you as objective a view as I can on the quality of a thing. And then at the end of that, we always say that even if I tell you something is of poor quality or is bad, that should not affect how much you enjoy it. There are plenty of things that are objectively terrible that I enjoy, media-wise, and there are some bunch of things that other people enjoy that are terrible. And in relation to that, there are a bunch of good things that other people don't enjoy. Yeah, it's impossible to deny the mastery and brilliance of Beethoven or Bach or Chopin, but not everybody's going to enjoy classical piano. Just kind of is what it is. Kevin says, I love that your content is factual and contains more than just broad overviews. I get into the meat and potatoes of the lore and helps pagans like me understand how the world was before Christianity came and changed the narratives. No, and that's what I try to do. I try to present the stories as accurately as I can, which is what I just got done saying, based on what the evidence says. And there are a lot of things that get blown out of proportion by popular narrative and by the intent of people who are telling the stories. My only goal when I tell a story, and it's the part of the tradition of our family, is to pass the story on as it was handed to me, so that you all can benefit from whatever the lesson that was learned in that story is, whatever it might be, no matter how uncomfortable it might be, even if I don't necessarily like what the lesson is, I'll still pass it along because it's not my job to tell you what you're supposed to know or think. It's my job to pass along the stories and let you figure it out for yourself. And, on occasion, obviously, we talk about, like, how to think, but I'm not going to tell you what to think. I enjoy making content, I just keep forgetting to post it. Yeah, well, that's a real struggle. That's a real struggle. Kimberly says, I love that. That sounds amazing. I do Viking reenactment, and learning the stories makes the reenactment come alive for me. Yes, I know Celtic is different than Nordic, but they still bring it. But Celtic and Nordic are sort of entwined, right? Like if you go to the Manx people are very heavily influenced by Viking blood. Like my book is called Norse Gaelic Festivals. Like, this is the book that my wife and I put together because this is the festivals of my family, who we are from. I got my there was a pop-up. Tim, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. It's called Norse Gaelic Festivals because my family are descended from the Gaels and the Nordics, the Norse, who were in Southern Ireland. I grew up in Wicklow, and my family is from Wicklow. Elsie and I enjoy listening to you and your storytelling. I appreciate you. And yes, I do remember you are a professional wildlife photographer. Brian says, you're great at what you do, brother. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. And one of the greatest honors for me is when people come in and let me know that I am their storyteller. Because to be somebody's storyteller is an honor, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the faith and the opportunity. I've heard a lot of your stories, but I've not heard one on Krampusnacht. We did a Krampusnacht one a few years ago, but so basically, and for any of you who's new, this will be a bit of an insight into how the sausage is made. I tell the same stories every year, so you might get bored with that, you might not. But in my family, it's a tradition to tell traditional stories every year, but we cycle through them each year. So each season, I will tell some of the stories from different cultures from around the world, and traditionally, So I tell different ones every year, but they get repeated. Probably every 2 to 3 years, I go through the same stories, and I try to find new and unique ways to present them. Still tell them the same way, still tell the same story, but I try to find new mediums to which to tell them, so they stay exciting. Because I know that the internet is full of slop and low effort things, and I do my best to make sure that what we're presenting is fun and enjoyable and whimsical. I discovered the tavern when I was doing my genealogy. You did a video on something relating to a family tradition. I joined the tavern to learn more, and I've been happily following you since. I do remember that, Christy. There are quite a few folk in here who joined because of that. The Sforzic video keeps getting pushed back. Tim, I didn't see that you super chatted a message. I apologize, brother. The Sforza video keeps getting pushed back because I am missing a prop. There's a very important prop that I need for the video, so it keeps getting pushed back. It is gonna come out, I promise you. It is one of the videos I've been dying to get out. And I'm waiting on a prop. Once the prop gets here, then I'll have everything I need. Yeah, I had to unbury the local portal a bit first. Yeah. So Elsie and I really love your waffles, stories, and shanties. Thank you, Esther. I enjoy them. Yeah, sorry, Tim. There's a bit of a delay, and I'm catching up with chat. I apologize, mate. I'm catching up. Frost says this is the only live that I watch, which is I think that you and Baird and a couple of others, that's the case. Cindy says, I love your voice and Harry Potter and all the lore. Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you for that. I'm glad. And I like for all of you who come in every day to support, I appreciate you guys. Castle, I reckon you're a pretty good storyteller. You always put me and Elsie to sleep. It's a hell of a compliment. Sword Talk, hello. Scooby, hello. Good evening, Castle. Hope you and the family are doing well. We're doing spectacularly, my friend. But yes, Tim, I'm working on the Swartzer video. So for any of you who doesn't know, Tim, who is over on the YouTube portal, is a voice actor. He's a very good voice actor. He does some exceptional things. So if you're over on YouTube, he actually does some sort of like stop motion storytelling. He does it's very interesting, and he's an interesting chap himself. So anybody who's interested, you can go give Tim a follow. He's an interesting young man. But he lent me his voice for a video about Caterina Sforza, who is a brilliant, underappreciated figure from Italian history. And I started this video on her a long time ago now. And I've been waiting for, I bought some props. So, like, for instance, I'm working on a series of story times around Sun Wukong, and I have these little guys that I got. They made their little, so you can hear they're made of cement. These little cement guys that are the different characters. This is the Tang Sang Sing, the Tang monk, and this is Sun Wukong, and they're little itty bitty Sun Wukong guys. And I got them for the story time. You guys are the only ones who've seen those, because the story is not done yet. And I usually save these storytelling mediums for when the stories come out. But Tim lent me his voice for the Caterina Sforza video, and it's been just taking forever to get out. And that's why I tell you guys, like, the lady and I want nothing more than to just get as many stories out and make them as good as possible for you guys. And one of the issues that we're coming up against is that we're making a lot of stories, but we don't have time to do our other work that pays the bills. So we're in this transitionary process right now where we are transitioning between the work that we were doing that paid the bills and just doing Tavern full time. So there's been a bit of a delay because we're still trying to make sure that we have enough money to get the stories out, but also making sure that we don't end up with nowhere to go, because those things are important. Of course, Tim, of course. Storyteller makes no choice. Soon you will not hear his voice. His job is to shed the light and not to master. Hunter Garcia. Yeah, well, it's a very good quote. I don't know that I know where it comes from, Fuba, but it's a very good quote. It is not the storyteller's job to rule. A master storyteller is not a master of stories, but is a master of passing along and keeping stories. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything out. I have a yardstick. It's insanely cold. Okay, I'm a bit better now, finally. Good, Maddie. I'm glad. Oh, hi, Castle. Finally, hello. I'm all caught up now. I heard TikTok algorithm is messed up today. TikTok has not been treating us well for a while. Are they cute? Aren't they cute, Jessica? They're so adorable. When I bought them, it was from a sketchy website, so I was afraid I wasn't even gonna get them. But yeah, they're adorable. My little questers for the Buddhist sutras. Uh, but yeah, TikTok has been messed up for us for a while. You missed stretches and hydrates. I apologize. Here's a hydrate. Oh, and a stretch. There we go. And Sword Talk, it's good to see you. I'm glad you made it in. Let's see. Did I miss anyone else? I know I haven't mentioned it lately, but this is also a place where I come to relax. It's truly a haven for me, and I'm glad, Frost, because a place where someone can come to relieve stress is a rare thing these days, especially online. Yeah, TikTok is sort of. It has been a while, sort of. It has been a while. Uh, but yeah, it's TikTok has been messed up for a while. I I will still always put things out through TikTok. Nicholas, hello, good to see you. Welcome in. The high temperatures have prevented me from adequately hydrating. You got to be very careful. Tavern is the haven. That's high praise, Jessica. As I've told you guys before, like my past is full of illicit and unscrupulous things, and I was very much not a good man in my younger years, and I still would argue that I'm probably not a very good man now. But when I first started doing the social media thing, I will always keep TikTok. I will always put things out on TikTok as long as it exists, because TikTok is where I found all of you and where I rediscovered my love for storytelling. So regardless of what happens with TikTok, I will still always put things out on TikTok. We went from getting tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok to getting a few hundred and a few thousand views. I still put things out on TikTok. And it's because TikTok is where I rediscovered my love and passion for storytelling. And it wasn't even because we got a lot of views on it. It was because I started TikTok to like pull a prank on my brother. Like literally, my original TikTok page got famous because I was making my brother famous on TikTok. Like that was the whole joke. He hated TikTok, and so we made him famous on TikTok. That was the whole thing. My first 100,000 followers on TikTok came from that. And then I started just telling stories because I did that and I didn't have anything else to do, so I started telling jokes and I started drama with people and I would bicker with people and call people stupid and whatnot, just the internet things. And eventually, I got to a point where I realized I was doing what everybody else was doing, and that the things I really enjoyed is when I told a story, and people enjoyed it, and people had fun with it, and people got to enjoy the story. Oh, we had a raid come in over on TikTok. Michael, my friend, good to see you. Welcome in. Let's get you a $2 raid tone. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Quirk knows. Quirk's been here since the olden days. And so I started trying to find positive ways to just use that to make positive things for people. And we did some positive stuff. But when we finally made the tavern, it was after a really hard time in my own life. I just left a very long relationship. And it was just before the lady and I got together. And I was very low. I'd lost my parents in 2018 and lost my home, lost my business. A whole bunch of things happened over the course of about two and a half years. And so, one of the barkeeps, can we get a shout out from Michael, please? Thank you. Castle, I'm not a TikTok user. I find it is a valuable platform for content. Yeah, and it is. It is. Good night, Sword Talk. Yes, you did meet us through TikTok. So a lot of you did. I think Court has been here since Sword Talk's been around for a long while. Well, and I'm not saying any of this to be sad. Like, these are all things that led me to a very happy place in my life. Like, up until I was about 21, I was a real bastard of a man. And it took me a long time to grow out of those things. And it wasn't really until 5 years, 5, 6 years ago when my life really took a turn for the mega worse. And the lady sort of helped me up out of a pit that I decided that this is what I yeah, Matty, it looks like this. I'll get you. Uh, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right, guys. Kevin's, yeah, you found me on TikTok, um, and it was just a lot of really my chickens coming home to roost, if you will, sort of brought me to a place where I realized that I enjoyed and I missed the environment of home. When I lived with my grandfather, I the environment was one of learning and family and support, and it was strict and it was stern, and there were some things that maybe I didn't like about uh, how strict my grandfather was with me when I was a boy, but that was more about me being a hard-headed child than about anything else. And I realized that when I was making drama content, more or less, I I was just bickering and I was adding to the negativity that was around me. And while some of it was just done because I thought it was funny, I was just having an enjoyment of it. I and I never did anything maliciously. I would say that I never go out of my way to be malicious. But if somebody said something stupid, I would be one of those people who got in there and made fun of people for saying something stupid. And I tried to be lighthearted about it, but occasionally I would be a douche. I almost swore. I'm trying not to swear as much when we're on story times. Um, but when it came back to it, the times that I enjoyed the most is when people were asking me about traditions of my family, and when we were having story time together, and when we were going through games that had good stories and we were talking about how good the stories were, or even when they had really bad stories and talking how terrible the stories were. That was what I enjoyed. As I said, I lost my father in 2019, a cat and two dogs. I understand your situation is difficult. Life has changed for the better. It has. It has. And I was fortunate that the lady was willing to help me up when I was very low. I was very fortunate about that. And now I've come to the realization that what I enjoy most is this. I enjoy creating a space that is different. Because there's so many places where you can go to get drama and division and people who dislike each other and people who just want to cause problems and fight about things that most of the time they don't understand. Uh, Sydney says, I was scrolling and heard your voice. Well, I'm glad that it was able to stop you long enough because you become a wonderful addition to the regulars of the tavern. Jessica says, you both do a wonderful job here with all of your projects and very generously sharing with us. I see, and I'm glad that you guys see it as generous because we think that we should be doing more. Court says, having been here for a long time, I will say every version of this space and every topic has been wonderful. Even the ones I'm not interested in because you're a great storyteller and facilitator of this space. Thank you, Court. That's high praise, brother. I appreciate you for that. Good news, by the way, the doctors agreed to reassess me and are retesting me for ADHD and PTSD. Well, here's hoping you get to add some buffs to your title, Matty. You also know just how good a storyteller is if you cannot even be watching and just the sound of their voice is soothing and keeps you interested, keeps your interest, which happens in here for me. And again, like that's really high praise, Frost. I appreciate the compliment. I think there's also such a disconnect between good tradition and modern life, and it makes this space so refreshing and welcoming. I think that that's true. I think that that's true. I think that there is and I just did that story time on like culture and tradition. I think one of the big Yes, here, says Cindy. I think one of the big issues is that we kind of push the idea of tradition and culture off on to everybody else, right? It's everybody else's job to preserve it. But it kind of starts at the table, right? It starts with you, it starts with your family. It starts with what we do at home, what we carry individually, but what we carry individually together, right? It's what you do for Christmas. It's you know, your Sunday dinners. It's what you go out and do on Fridays. There is so much of tradition that has been lost because of, and part of it is because of the internet. Part of it is because of evolutions in culture and whatnot. But there are a lot of things that have been all but left behind, and I think that it's our job. And obviously, I grew up in a very traditional, very old-fashioned family. Like my grandfather is very traditional. I'm very traditional. We're very old-fashioned, very archaic in a way, but there always has to be that blend between tradition and moving forward, right? Like you have to be willing to innovate, and at the same time, you have to be willing to make sure that the roots are firm. And there has to be a balance of that. Cindy says, "Yes, I love to hear about the old traditions." Yeah, and one of the things I miss most about home is that, to be perfectly honest. Uh, Christy says, "My grandfather always told us that we all make mistakes and wrong decisions. The important thing is that we learn, correct, and grow rather than repeat." And that's true, Christy. That's a damn fine piece of wisdom. You do enough, Castle. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate you saying so. Tavern is always a pleasure. Wish I could make it in more often. Well, I appreciate every second that you do make it in, Kemin. Castle, without you and Oonagh, I'd still be on no books done. Here's Unagh's guidance. I got 2 books done, and I'm on my 3rd. All because I found the tavern. You guys are held close to my heart because of that. We love you too, Matty. Let's see, where are we? As long as I can hear what matters, as long as I can hear is what matters. I can be doing other things on the screen, and the tale in the background is enough. And I mean, that is the mark of a good story. I don't want to toot my own horn. That is a mark of a good storyteller. Someone who can keep your attention even when your attention is split. Esther says, "I thoroughly enjoy my time here. The waffles and storytelling and chantings create a wonderful atmosphere." I agree. I enjoy them as well. Gigi says, over on the Facebook portal, "I discovered you last week. I like what you have to say and your experience. Thank you for sharing. I work in media, and yes, I think there's too much polarization, too much negativity for too long, and we've forgotten our cultures and traditions and sharing them rather than imposing them. Here in Canada and Quebec, many people still have Celtic roots within them." Yeah, and I get in this fight with folk from like Ireland and Scotland and England all the time. They're like, "Oh, we hate when Americans disrespect what we do." And yeah, to a degree, Americans tend to be very like flamboyant in the way that they try to. Americans and Canadians and like any of the diaspora of the various European cultures, they do tend to be a little bit flamboyant in the way that they express their love for their culture. Um, uh, but they're also unwilling to teach, unwilling to welcome people in. And that ends up creating this weird dichotomy where you want people to not do it wrong, but you also don't want to teach them how to do it right. And I get all kinds of grief from people. Like I've had Irish folk, I would mix just get angry at me, be like, "Oh, you're not really Irish. If you were, you'd care about this, this, this." I'm like, I do care about those things, but I care more about keeping culture alive than making sure that everybody everywhere micromanages to the degree that I prefer them be. Like I can't expect somebody whose family has lived in America for 3 generations or 4 generations to automatically be able to say incredibly difficult Gaeilge words. Like like you'll get Irish folk who get up in arms uh, because people from America will call it Gaelic or Gaelic, which Gaelic is Scottish Gaelic is a different language, same umbrella, different language, and that they'll call it Gaeilge. So I make videos poking fun at this all the time. I did a whole video where I was like, "You're gonna sound like a tourist if you say Gaelic. It's just Gaeilge, or Irish. You can call it either one. And what's funny is like I get mixed in my comments all the time who get upset at me. Irish people can't even speak Irish. Like there's no consistent way to speak Gaelga in Ireland, and anybody who tells you otherwise is trying to sell you something. Like no one in Ireland can agree like how we're supposed to be speaking Irish. uh, Molly Sue says, I've been really grateful for the tavern these last few months after losing my mom in October. It's given me something to focus on. And I'm glad. And camaraderie is so hard to find online these days. It's at least camaraderie that's not blowing smoke up your back end, you know? Plenty of people are willing to be like, oh, you're so amazing, but like having real camaraderie where, because like I'm never going to baby you guys, but I am willing to have hard conversations with you and talk to you about what's going on in your life and give advice if you like it, you know. But I'm never going to just sit here and pander to you, because I don't think that that's loving. I don't think it's loving to tell somebody just what they want to hear if it's not going to help them. Chris Knox, hello and welcome in. I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up with chat. We've got quite a few folks in tonight, so I'm running a little bit behind. Funny story, the other night I came across the Will o' the Wisp video and remembered I needed to ask Oonagh about more art. Me, I love you. Castle, I love you too, Maddie. Now we need to do a slow down on the compliments. Yeah, you guys are gonna make my inflate my overinflated ego already. It's already as massive as it could be. I'm gonna pop if you guys keep going. So Mr. Scoop and I watched a video the other day. A comedian was doing crowd work, started talking to a couple that had been married for 9 years, and the guy was 58 and the girl was 29. Sorry, random. That is very random. Scooby and whew, just barely got over the line on that one. I forgot that what it was called. My mom called it Big Islandish, then corrected to Irish. Gets the pump and inflates Casahusiko more. GG. And yeah, I'm glad that the tavern is a space where everyone can just come in and enjoy themselves. And I don't somebody said safe space a while back. I don't particularly care for that turn of phrase, because it means no one's going to challenge you. And in here, I will challenge you, especially if I care. For the regulars, especially know this. If you're in here and you're like, oh, I'm sad and nothing's ever going to get any better, I'll smack you around a bit for it. The only time things never get better is when you decide they're never going to get better. Elsie and I are drifting off to sleep, listening in the background. That's alright, Hester. We probably won't be on much longer. The lady has stood firm in her decision to abandon you all and to cease loving you. So I'll keep you all company for a bit longer, then I'll let you all go off to bed. No, and she had a long day. Like, she spent a lot of today working on Storytime. She spent a lot of today editing Storytime. So she is tired. It is very late. So I'm poking fun at her, but she's she has put in a lot of work today for Tavern. So I'm poking fun at her because she's right across from me, and I do so like to poke fun at the lady. Safe space with regards to not being attacked in any way, and the taboo topics being kept that way to keep the peace. Yeah, fair enough. Ladies are allowed to change their mind on a whim, it's their right. Thank goodness she doesn't do that very often, because I would get whiplash with it all, but she's very consistent, thank the Lord. Castle, we are enjoying your waffles. I'm glad, Esther, I'm glad. Well, Matt, have a good night, and I hope to catch you all next time. Fubot, I'm glad that you came in. Thank you for marking us on your map. And yes, we do, for anyone who is new, we do live story times on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And we have a readathon coming up in the next couple of weeks. That'll be a full week of story time. It'll probably be Lord of the Rings. If history indicates anything, it'll be Lord of the Rings. Well, we'll do our best, Frost. We'll do our best. I am dead set on making sure that we get as many stories and such done as possible. I'm working on getting the books done as well. As soon as I'm finished here, I'm gonna go up and record a bunch of story times at the bar, and then I'm gonna get working on this Celtic series. So let me bring this back real quick just to make sure that I got the consensus right. The general consensus seems to be the lady loves us and we love her. Yeah, she adores you guys. Don't let my lies poison the well against her. She adores you guys. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, she adores you guys. But yeah, she spent a lot of time working on the children's book over the last couple of days. She's doing a lot of design work on the characters there. Um, she's also spent a lot of time orchestrating today's long story time, which is an extended version of the villain uh, story that we did a while back, talking about how to write good villains. And then this next week, we're going to be starting on the Celtic stories. So just to ensure that we have it laid out right, the consensus seemed to be that you guys would prefer we do something historical and then something mythological, and then interweave it that way, so we can get like a mental and spiritual framing, as well as a historical framing with each section. Am I correct? Am I correct in thinking that that's what you guys would prefer we do? Castle, could you tell me about the date for the book marathon? It will. So let's see. What is today? Today is the 25th. We have 2 more story times before the end of the month. So it'll probably be the 2nd or 3rd week in February. We'll know for sure after this week. After this week, I'll have a firm idea of how much longer it's going to take to finish the last 2 books. Once the last 2 books are done, we're going to take a week off from reading. We're just going to have some really simple and relaxed story times. And then we are, then the following week, we're going to do story time. So possibly the 2nd week in February, maybe the 3rd week in February will be story time. Or the readathon, I apologize. Also, maybe you can help the direction here, Castle. So in book 3, I'm tempted to make Breed's brother Lou leader of their planet, but also keeping in her father A-OK, inspired by the Dogda. But what's your take? Either works from my story to yeah, that would be fine. Because Lou was chief of the Tuatha Dé Danann for a good chunk of time in some of the myths, so that would be fine. Yeah, I will let you guys know the week that I know we're going to be ending. I will announce the readathon, so you'll have at least a week, if not 2, to plan for the readathon. And the way we'll have it set up is at the base, each day will be 2 hours of story time, of reading, extendable up to 5 hours. So we could get as many as 5 hours of story every day per week. Readathon depends on how large the serves of waffles are each stream. The correct, Bear. That's going to be a big differentiator, a big deciding factor on when we get there. Lou is a fascinating character from mythology. I think he's underappreciated. I think Cocolin gets a lot of attention, and I think Breed and the dog they get a lot of attention. Lou definitely deserves more attention from your throat don't hurt. Well, that's why I'm going to take the week off. I'm going to take the week off. I'm going to be drinking honey and tea that entire week leading up to it, and during story time, even though it's going to make me uncomfortable having to drink hot stuff during story time, I'm going to have warm tea and mint sitting right here with me every single story time. Well, so it'll be up to 5 hours. The readathon is going to be an everyday event, unless my voice gets worn out, in which case then the lady might take over for a day. But we will be doing a readathon, will be every day for 7 days. Yeah, and again, if I get worn out, I'll have the lady take over for a day, and she'll do like the Silmarillion or the Children of Húrin or something. So that way we'll still get those things, but without, me burning my voice out. Yes, Lord of the Rings. Yeah. I love to hear you guys sing the old traditional songs. It's funny. We walk around the house singing songs. So it's. I had somebody say who comment on an old live story time, and they're like, "Oh, it's such a weird shtick that you guys sing these old songs." And I was like, "It's not a shtick. We sing these. We sing these at home." This is my first time finding your live. I really like this. Thank you. Is there a way to have it notify me when you start? Um, Not a good way. Not a. And Jane, welcome in. Hello. If you've not been introduced, I'm Castle, and this is my tavern. And here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. I'm glad that you were able to drop in for a live story time. Right now we're just waffling a bit, but you should be able to turn adjust notifications on Facebook. If you want a better chance of being notified, we open the portals on several platforms. So you can come in through Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, or TikTok. The most reliable notifier is Twitch. So if you want to be sure that you get notified every single time, following and turning on all notifications on Twitch is the best way. But there should be a indicator over on the main page on Facebook to be notified of everything that we do, or just be notified of lives, or just be notified of long video. So you should be able to adjust what you get notified that the tavern does. But just for your information, we do live story times 3 times a week: Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday in the evening. We start usually sometime between 4:30 and 6:30. It's a little bit wild because we put out a lot of stories, and the wife and I are usually running ragged, getting these things out. Nancy and Esther gets notifications via email, so there you go. So yeah, Tierna Pay's lore is heavily inspired by the Irish. I would hope so. I also just have references to other parts of Irish myth too. Just before Lou and AOK, there I had a character in one of the backstories named Dermot. Pings on my Apple Watch notifications, Castle. What is your Twitch name? I'll add you. You are your little dog to follow you on Facebook already. Very good. So it's still Black Dragon Tavern, but it's got gaming at the end. Don't let that fool you. We don't really do any gaming over there anymore. But it's Black Dragon Tavern Gaming. You should see my face on there. Well, Darmwood Twin Spear, if that. uh, I mean, it could work. Twin Spear sounds more. That sounds more Norse, or maybe even like Native American. Of course, Jaden. Of course, my pleasure. Thank you. I'm glad that you're interested in story time. Again, right now we're just waffling. Normally, the lady of the tavern would read on Sundays, but we got on a little bit late, and she's occupied with other things at the moment. So I'm just spending a little bit of time with everyone before we all head off to bed. I was made on the spot, based on what I was reading about Dartmouth, which is all right. Try cleaning Elsie's teeth. She enjoys chewing on the toothbrush. Brushing a dog's teeth is already such a funny concept as it is. Um, my pit bull would do that. He would, anytime I would try to brush his teeth, he would chew on the toothbrush. He just wanted to chew on things. So I don't know if we got any answers on this, because I keep getting caught up in the conversation. For the Celtic lore series, because we're going to go into a full pantheon of everything from the Mabinogion to the Book of Invasions to the Tainbo Cooley, the various existing documents of Celtic lore, as well as how they have existed historically, as well as who the Celtic tribes were, where they were, and what majorly was going on. Hey, there we go. Jen made it over. Hello, thank you for marking the tavern on your map in 2 places now. You should be able to find your way back whenever you seek a story now. Coda, Boo, and Milo are all good. Milo's probably sleeping when he's not supposed to. And Coda is over with the lady, and I presume Boo is as well. Yes, all spending time over with the lady. But the general consensus seemed to be that interlacing historical ones with mythological ones is how everybody wants to get them, right? Now, the long videos are primarily only going to be out on the YouTube portal. So if you're not following over on YouTube and you want to make sure that you catch the long story times, I'm going to put some of them out on Facebook, but not all of them, because Facebook does not like long videos. So the vast majority of them are going to come out exclusively on the YouTube door. So make sure that you... Hey, Jane, thank you kindly for that. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated. Enjoy your Krampus Kringle there. Or whatever it is. Krampus something. Croissant? Krampus Crumble? It was blocked for me, I couldn't read it. I now have dental wipes that she attempts to chew on. I'm unable to win this. It seems like a losing battle, trying to brush a dog's teeth. But thank you kindly for the tips to the Tavern Keeper, Jane. They're always appreciated. So yes, if you are not following the tavern on, it was Krampus Kringle. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Just the edge of it was blocked for me. I couldn't read it. If you're not following over on the YouTube portal, that's where the long story times are going to be primarily coming out. You will catch some of them on Facebook, but again, Facebook does not like those longer story times. So we can't put them all out there, or else they'll stop showing our stuff to anybody, which is an unfortunate bit of the game that we have to be willing to play. Gosh, I wish I had some tips for your castle, all gone on Elsie's teeth. Also, me playing Star Wars The Old Republic. Oonagh, guess what? Pause ice cream.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
And like he always gets hungry whenever we're eating.
Oh, right, right.
Something else to torture you.
Finally home, my mom cut my hair, so I had to get rid of the itchy little... Oh, those are the worst. Those are the worst. I love your clips, so I'm really looking forward to hearing your stories. I'm going to add you on YouTube too, and I'll listen while I'm crafting me and my husband's leather armor for NFG 6 coming up. I don't know what that is, but I love the idea of crafting leather armor. So that is very interesting here. I'll look forward to seeing what you make. We love some craftsmen here. We have some woodworkers who join us here in the tavern. We have writers and craftspeople and seamstresses and seamsters, and we used to have a gentleman in here who was a cobbler, which was, I don't know if he's still his name was, I think, Ben, who used to come in. He was a shoe repairman. He's a cobbler. So we love the old crafts, handcrafts. So I would look forward to seeing what you make. Yeah, Esther is a writer and wildlife photographer. She takes exceptional photos of... I've only seen pictures of birds, but and her dog. But I presume she takes pictures of more than that. But I've only had the pleasure of seeing birds and dogs, and they are lovely. They are quite lovely. Matty is the writer in local chatterbox. Bear says he just sent you a photo. Love you. Bear says he just sent you a photo. Norse Forge Grown 6 in North Carolina. I do leather clothes, woodworking, jewelry, and garb likely. Interesting, very interesting. Well, I would look forward to seeing what you make. Norse Forge Grown. I don't know that I know what that is. Let's see, Norse Forge. ground. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of this. Norse Forged Ground Gathering. Oh, Norse Forged Gathering. Okay, I see, I see. Did I misread that? Oh no, Norse Forged Gathering 6. It's in the Carolinas. It's in North Carolina. Yeah, I'd never heard of this. Interesting. Well, I hope it looks like it's is it sort of a it looks like it's a gathering of creators, sort of mixed with like a Renaissance fair, but Norse themed, obviously. Also, Discord was being weird. A lot of things were acting weird today, Matty. I don't know what it is. Of course, Esther. Of course. I also play acoustic. Elsie doesn't like it. Runs off bark. I play with a little bit of leather from time to time, and the bear is also a brewmaster, a local brewmaster. Not sure if certain messages went through. It's again, everything's been acting up the last couple of days, Matty, so it's possible not. Bear says he has a dear friend who does glasswork. Glasswork is brilliant. My father was friends with a gentleman who did old-fashioned glass blowing, and sadly, I'm no longer in contact with him. But my grandfather also, I think I only went to his workshop once when I was living with my grandfather. I think he was a cousin of my grandfather's, but I'm not 100% sure. So I've had the pleasure of being in two glass workshops, and I've had quite a bit of time in silver and steel forges, because I have two uncles that are blacksmiths, and one uncle who is a silversmith, and I learned how to do that when I was very young. So I love these traditional crafts. It's Nordic Tank Tolm. Oh, we just had somebody else, Tank Tolman. Somebody was asking if there was a possibility that Tank and I would ever collaborate. And I couldn't remember who he was. He's the hammer guy, right? We had established that he's the guy who yells hammer, and he has a ship, and he like hires people to come on to his Viking ship. Tank Tolman will be there. It's just a gathering for role-playing notes. I see, I see. Very interesting. Well, it looks like good fun. The pictures seem to be very lively. Ads in 4.5. Yes, somebody had come in earlier asking if Tank and I were ever going. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate you. If Tank and I were ever going to collaborate, I don't see any reason why not. I don't think he knows who I am, though. At least probably not. Shadow Fox, hello over on TikTok, my friend. Welcome in. Bought Elsie a bone the other day, sat near it, and she howled at it. Coda is like that with something. My pitbull was never like that. Anything he would. Yeah, I think we're gonna pop off here in a second, Jessica. So you go ahead, go off to bed, and I think it's gonna make me make everybody watch ads over on Twitch again. I'm well, Shadow. How are you, my friend? Actually, I should call you Fox because we have another Shadow elsewhere. Fred here, you said, hello, good sir. I was finally able to join the Discord today. Spectacular. We're glad to have you. Glad you made it into the guild. Gigi says, blacksmith, wow, I've always loved this craft, especially the traditional kind. I'd love to try it someday. My son is actually learning blacksmithing this year. Traditionally in our family, we learn as many of the handcrafts as we can when we're children. We don't learn them to a point of specialty or expertise, but we do learn the basics of them when we're growing up, so we understand what the cost of a thing is. We learn to sew, we learn to weave, we learn to forge, we learn to garden, to hunt, to prepare our own foods and things. So, our son is going through learning archery and blacksmithing this year. I'm good. I start my first certification for cybersecurity tomorrow. Well, congratulations. I will keep my fingers crossed for you that you do well. I will share your page, and I'm sure he would love your content. Well, I certainly hope so. I try to make the tavern a place that everybody will come in and enjoy themselves, to be sure. and I appreciate you. Uh, guys, so for everybody on Twitch, we're gonna run ads real quick. It'll be 3 minutes. I feel bad running 3 minutes because we're not going to be on for another hour, but it'll give us an hour uninterrupted, and Twitch is going to make me run the 3 minutes anyways, whether I want to or not. So give me 3 minutes. We'll still continue conversation while some of our friends are trapped in ads, but we'll be right back. Anybody who is not subbed over on Twitch. My son is learning blacksmithing currently. I'm building him a forge in the backyard. That's what our boy, he wants his own forge, but where we currently live, it's not really possible to do. But once we get moved, we'll have a forge that he'll be able to use. But it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I look forward to seeing the things that your son makes as well, creating future craftsmen. But her, I think it was. Oh, you were talking about your. I had a poodle that used to bury her in the blankets. I think it was a game. That's very funny. GG, wonderful. Yeah, one of the things that we very much want to do, because someday we'll reopen the doors of the tavern. We don't know when, we don't know where, but someday we'll reopen the doors of the tavern so the folk can come in and enjoy a meal with us and have a drink, and so I can tell you all stories in person. But in the meantime, we have this as our tavern space. And then but once we do get the tavern open again, we would also like to build an artisan village where we will have traditional craftsmen come and keep traditional crafts alive, like leatherwork and like weaving and like sewing and like blacksmithing and silversmithing and things like that. Shadowfox says, you Irish or Scottish? So technically, I am American. Because I live in America and I am an American citizen. I was also born in America, but I didn't know that until I was in my 20s. And I tried to file paperwork. I grew up in Ireland, though. I grew up with my grandfather in Ireland. I bounced around a bit. My accent does not sound like it's anywhere from anywhere in Ireland because I grew up kind of all over. I lived in 7 to 9 different counties, depending on like the amount of time you consider for living. And I bounced around between my different uncles. And I lived a year in, well, not in Oslo, but north of Oslo with one of my uncles as well. And my last 2 years I spent in Belfast. So my family are Nordic and Irish because we're Norwegian and Irish. And all of us speak kind of strangely because of that. None of us really sound like a stereotypical Irishman, because an Irishman, like, how are you doing? It's a fine day to see you. I hope that you're doing well out there. You're fine and dandy if you are. Like, that's more what people expect from an Irishman, right? And you hear some of that in me, but not a lot. And part of that is because of the blend of, like, I grew up around a lot of Norwegian folk, and folk from Limerick, and folk from Wicklow, and folk from Belfast, and folk from Down, and folk from Ossory and Donegal, and Galway. So I've got family from all over. So I grew up around our family's accent primarily, which sounds a lot like me. And then I also grew up around the folk who I interacted with outside of my family were from various sections of Ireland. So my accent is really from nowhere, if we're being honest. Talar du Norsk. Not well, Stephen, not well. Oh wait, does it mean argue Norse or do you speak Norse? Say again, very much I've lived in the US for 20 years now, so all of my languages are rusty. Lamal, oh okay, I was going to say you have a really cool accent. Well, thank you, Shadowfox, I appreciate you. That's what I thought you asked if I do speak. Not well. I grew up speaking Gaeilge, but it was a unique dialect of Gaeilge, and I didn't. Again, this is something that I didn't know until I was much older. My grandfather's family speaks a unique dialect of Gaeilge that has a lot of loan words from Norwegian and Old Norse. So, like, an example of that is In Irish, if you wanted to call somebody my treasure, you would say a store, right? A store. But if the way that my family would say that would be storling. We would call someone storling. And so this is kind of a different dialect. But I grew up speaking Gaeilge and some Norwegian. But I've lived in America for 20 years now, and I've not spoken fluently in years, and I don't speak well anymore, if any at all. Speak a little bit of German, a little bit of Gaeilge, a little bit of Norwegian, but not enough to be conversational anymore. Uh, my grandmother was from Scotland. That's why I love listening to you tell stories. Brings me back to my youth. Well, that's wonderful, Jen. I'm glad. That means the world. It's a long line of crafters in my family. I want to have a tavern as well. Ellison Tavern. I'm a licensed bartender and cook, but I do house flipping currently. It's a hell of a job. That's a lot of work that goes into bringing a house back to life. I was born in Australia, raised in South African accent. I was bullied in school. Yeah, as soon as I moved back to the United States when I was in my late teens, 14, 15 years old, and I was bullied relentlessly for my accent, relentlessly for it. So I very quickly learned how to sound more American. Because I was in university and I had all these grown people around me making fun of how I spoke. So I learned how to cover up my accent very, very quick. When I found out about you, I wondered if you were from Wales or one of the northern countries. What a wonderful family story. Yeah, and I sound vaguely Scottish. I sound like a vaguely Northern Irish. I sound vaguely Welsh. Welsh I don't get often, but occasionally people do ask about Welsh. So Castle couldn't help wondering, looking at stream title, thinking that you didn't look much like Oonagh, which is stage. Well, she was supposed to read tonight, but she got caught up in a project and we got on late. So I decided I'd just hang out with you guys, and I just didn't change the title. That's all, Calamitous. That's all. Your accent still reminds me of my great-grandmother. She was raised in the US, so it was fairly faint most of the time. Yeah, and that's the big thing. I've lived in the US for 20 years, so I end up leaning more American, especially when I'm talking to Americans, because I've had 20 years of experience of people not being able to understand me. So I automatically Americanize this. My accent is more American now than it is home, but only recently because my wife has encouraged me to embrace more of my natural dialect and slangs and just the way that I would have spoken back home without feeling the need to correct myself every time. So, yeah, worked too hard today and nearly broke herself, so we just went in for the waffles, right? It's time for me. Good night, Frost. Rest well, brother. I will give her your Frost sends his best, my love. She says good evening and that she hopes you sleep well. Did I miss something? I feel like I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, I did over here. Stephen Courtney, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. You've marked us on your map. You should be able to find your way back the next time that you seek a story. Very glad to have you. I appreciate you. I speak some, but I'm half Swedish and the other half is Icelandic. Though similar about family from elsewhere, I was born in America. It's a very common story for the Nordics and for folk from Ireland and Scotland. You know, the last 200 years or so, we ended up with a pretty massive diaspora all over the place. I was fortunate I got to grow up in my grandfather's family that's very old and very traditional, and I got to grow up with a lot of old stories and old traditions. So I was very fortunate in that. But I didn't know that I was born in the US until I was almost 20 years old. I think 19 was when I figured it out. When I learned, I should say, not when I figured it out. I was able to trace my family history to Norway and Irish. Well, see, we might be kin then. We might be kin. I like your vibe, man. I'm on here a lot for voiceover work, but I'll try to tune in more. Well, Stephen, I'm very glad that you could drop in. I am Castle. Again, for all the new folk, I am Castle. This is my tavern, and here we talk about myth and lore and tales of yore. Every now and again, a ritual, a story, which we do on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. But you have stumbled through a portal into a tavern at the end of the world, where all stories eventually come to rest. And you found yourself here because you sought a story. Anyone have any tips on how to stop nose bleeding from dry air? What Molly said, humidifier is a good one. Being very well hydrated is another one. Dry nose is one of the first things that happens when you're dehydrated. Sydney says use Vaseline in your nose. That sounds uncomfortable, but I assume that would work. Vaseline in the nose sounds uncomfortable, but I presume you wouldn't have recommended it if you'd never done it before. Molly Sue says water bowls in front of the register. That could also work. Good night, Sharon. Yeah, we're gonna hop off here in a second. I need to get busy with other work. Well, friends, do we have any friends who are online at the moment over on Twitch? No, it doesn't look like we have any friends on tonight, so I guess we're just ending off the evening as is. Oh, Matty says, also does Ermid or Markava or Ermid or Dovda. Oh, Dovda is more pronounceable as far as if you want people to be able to read it well, but then again, like using too many Irish names, you're gonna have people all up in arms anyways. If you use a wood stove, put a pot of water on top of it to prevent dry air. That's another good one, Christy. Stephen, thank you kindly for the heart me over on TikTok. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are always appreciated. It's my meds making it dry, the air. Okay, humidifier is fixed, so hopefully it will help. I'm hoping to avoid Vaseline up there, but I haven't ruled it out completely. Cindy says, my son's doctor told me when he was little he used to get nosebleeds all the time. Oh, see, there you go. There you go. Stephen, thank you for the roses, my friend. Just being very generous with the Tavern Keeper tonight. Good news, everyone. Finally back down to 215. Only 15 more to go. I set it for the end of February. That's spectacular news, Santana. You're dropping in at the end, my friend, but I'm glad you dropped in any case. The Vaseline is uncomfortable, but it will help some. We'll see, there you go. It's encrypted roots if you need it. I haven't, that's true. The Vaseline is uncomfortable, but it will help. So, oh, I already read that. Bunny Vibes is a nice calm ASMR. If you have a link, Milu, I would be willing to raid somebody. Angelfish, we're just now finishing up, as a matter of fact. We got on at around 6 p.m. And we're just now ending up. We're gonna be on for a little bit longer, but we're just now ending up. But hello, good to see you. Oh, is your friend Cryptid Roots on, Matty? I can raid your friend Cryptid. She's just critiquing now. Alright, we can do that. Don't quit, Angelfish. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate you for that. No, we're just it's getting late. It's almost 8:30 here. And for many of our folks who are on the east coast of America, it's getting very late. So we're gonna be hopping off here for a second. Why don't we do 2 songs and then we'll raid Matty's friend Cryptid over on Twitch and say hello. What song would you like to hear, my darling? 10k likes over on TikTok. Thank you kindly, Cindy. And to everyone else who's tapping over there. Milu says, hoist up the thing. We can do hoist up the thing. Hoist up the thing is good fun. And Kemian says, Valhalla Calling. Alright, well, we're gonna scare folk off if we do Valhalla Calling, Kemian, but... Sure, I guess. Huh? Yeah. Scaring everybody off at the end, why not? Okay, let's do Hoist Up the Thing, and then we will do Valhalla Calling. I'm gonna mute the music. Oh, and Esther says, leave her. Wow, we got all kinds of requests. All right, hang on. So we got Donald, where's your trousers? Leave her, Johnny. All right, we'll do those because those are actually ones we haven't done in a while. So we'll do all of those. We'll do Leave Her Johnny. We'll do Leave Her Johnny last, and then we'll do Hoist the Thing, Donald, where's your trousers, Valhalla Calling, and then Leave Her Johnny. All right, that's it. All notes are in. So let's do Hoist Up the Thing. Now, for any of you who have never been here before, usually we sing shanties and ballads at the end to send everybody off. Now, don't be confused. We don't do this because we sing well. We do this because we enjoy singing together. So if you're expecting some spectacular sounds to bless your ears, you'll be sadly mistaken and sorely disappointed. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate you. Howdy, Santana. So far, there's been no snow or ice where I'm at. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. It can get rough. It's getting rough for a lot of folk. Hoist Up the Thing. It's about a young man who desperately needs a job. And so he lies to get one. For whatever that's worth for a life's lesson. Fresh out of college with grades straight from hell, I browse for a trade at which I could excel, and ad for a ship in need of some manning, men sails in purpose but lacking a captain. What luck, says I, to find such good fortune? A few white lies later I ran down the pier. I bought me a coat and a cutlass or two. I jumped on the deck and I yelled at the crew. Hoist up the thing, batten down the what's it? What's that thing spinning? Somebody should stop it. Turn hard to port. That's not port, now I've got it. Trust me, I'm in control. I can't sing the shanties, it has to be said, and all of that grog just goes right to my head. Whale meat is gross, and I miss a girl's laugh. 5 weeks at sea, and even Dave seems a catch. Hoist up the thing, batten down the what's it? What's that thing spinning? Somebody should stop it. Turn hard to port. That's not port, now I've got it. Trust me, I'm in control. We've hit icy waters, no land to be seen. The food's getting low and the beer has gone green. There's murmurs of discontent under the deck. If I don't act fast, it could be my neck. So pull up the charts in those weird gold machines. I see what it says, but I've no clue what it means. Just pull on some levers and yank on some chains and feign a bad back till we've landed again. Hoist up the thing, batten down the what's it? What's that thing spinning? Somebody should stop it. Turn hard to port. That's not port, now I've got it. Trust me, I'm in control. Hoist up the thing, batten down the what's it? What's that thing spinning? Somebody should stop it. Turn hard to port. This is jail, now you've got it. Trust me, I'm in control. Ah, help! Trust me, I'm in control. Thank you for the song, my friends. That was a bit of a silly one. We love it. All right, next we are doing... what was the other one? We had Hoist Up the Thing. Donald, where's it? Oh, we're doing mostly silly ones. Well, half silly, half not silly. So, Donald, where's your trousers? So, Donald, where's your trousers is an interesting song. Because it's essentially it's making fun of a couple of different. It's making fun of Scotsmen and it's making fun of Englishmen at the same time. Because it's making fun of Scotsmen for wearing kilts, obviously, but it's also making fun of. It's also making fun of English folk for the way that they say trousers. Please don't do that. Don't do what, Angel. What did I do? And thank you for the heartbeat. I appreciate you. Tips to the Tavern Keeper are appreciated. All right. Can you sing a beautiful shanty? The one after this one will be a beautiful. Well, I don't know. The last one we sing is a beautiful shanty. We're gonna sing "Leave Her Johnny" at the end, which I think is a very beautiful one. I've just come down from the Isle of Skye. I'm not very big and I'm awful shy. The lassies shout as I go by. Donald, where's your trousers? Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low. Through the streets in me kilt I'll go. All the lassies cry hello. Donald, where's your trousers? A lassie took me to a ball, and it was slippery in the hall, and I was feared that I would fall, for I nae had on trousers. Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in me kilt I'll go. All the lassies cry hello. Donald, where's your trousers? Now I went down to London town, had a little fun in the underground. The lassies turned their heads around, saying, Donald, where's your trousers? Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in me kilt I'll go. All the lassies cry hello. Donald, where's your trousers? To wear the kilt is my delight. It's not wrong and no, it's right. The Highlanders, they would get a fright if they saw me in trousers. Let 'em blow high, let 'em blow low, through the streets in me kilt I'll go. All the lassies cry hello. Donald, where's your trousers? The lassies want me, every one, and they can catch me if they can, for you cannot put the brakes on a Highland man. And I don't wear the trousers. Let the wind blow high, let the wind blow low, through the streets in me kilt I'll go. All the lassies cry hello. Donald, where's your trousers? Donald, where's your trousers? Thank you, my friends. I almost forgot to mention I got some sourdough started last week, and I realized that it takes work. Yeah, keeping sourdough, like, you're better off having a child than trying to keep the sourdough starter alive. All right, what next? Calling. That's insane, Santana. That's wild. Okay, friends. So I'm sure many of you have heard of Valhalla Calling. It's a very popular song by a gentleman who goes by Miracle of Sound. It's a wonderful song, and we sing it a bit differently than other folks do. You see, the verses we sing normally, we sing them as you would hear from anybody. But then when we get to the chorus, which is the oh, we sing it in a very unique sort of way. We do it in a way that's called throat singing or druid singing. Some people enjoy it, some people find it very grating. Some people, it has been known to cause internal bleeding from the eyes and ears. It's been known to cause disruptions of the lymphatic system, the circulatory system, as well as the nervous system. It has been known to cause spontaneous combustion as well as spontaneous pregnancies, and the tavern cannot be held accountable for any of these adverse effects now that you have been warned about them. So, you've been warned. If you decide to stick around and still listen after this point, any adverse effects that you suffer as a result of it are purely your own fault. It's by staying, you sign a contract saying that you relieve the tavern of all responsibility and accountability for any effects that result after this point. As you know, I like throat singing. Yes, you do. A lot of the regulars do enjoy it. Some folk find it grating though, so I always have to warn ahead of time. All right, here we go. Ships on the vigor of the waves are skimming, bearing summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning. Rise and reign. Far from the fjords and the ice cold currents, ravens soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fate determined, shields and spears. Vows of favor or the thrill of plunder, pull together for the clan and kin. Clank of hammers and the crash of thunder. Pound within. So we cover your ears. Oh, the echoes of eternity. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Oh, to pluck the strings of destiny. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me. Sails are swaying on the crimson rivers, blood and glory in the fighting fields. Shields are shattered into splintered timbers, iron and steel. Fires are rising and the bells are ringing. Glory, take us into Odin's halls. Golden glimmer and the sound of singing as God's call. Here we go again. Oh, the echoes of eternity. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Oh, to pluck the strings of destiny. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me. Wind and the waves will carry me. Wind and the waves will set me free. Wind and the waves will carry me. Wind and the waves will set me free. Last time. Oh, the echoes of eternity. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Oh, to pluck the strings of destiny. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me. Thank you for the song, my friends. Do you ever listen to Who? I do listen to The Who occasionally, yes. They are wonderful. Xander Schatzman, hello, welcome in. So very glad you could join us. Welcome. All right, friends, last song for the evening. We are going to do Leave Her Johnny. My phone is plugged in at 1%. I wonder if it will stay that way till the end of stream. I guess we'll have to see. Here we go, my friends. I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea run high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed in rotten grub, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by a road for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Val, hello, welcome in. Thank you for the roses and the heart me and for the heart hands. Thank you kindly, tips to the tavern keeper. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much. Uh, you're coming in quite literally at the end, but I'm glad that you made it in, and I'm glad that you love the song. So, what are you new folks? As you can see, we don't sing because we're good at it. We sing because we enjoy it. We try to do it together when we can. Thank you for the songs in Waffle Castle. Have a blessed night. Good night, Esther. Rest well. I love you guys. We love you too, Val. I'm glad you still enjoy yourself in the tavern. That's to be sure. Burl Ives' version of the Golden Vanity you promised last year for my 80th birthday. Burl Ives' version of the Golden Vanity. I don't even remember that, John. Burl Ives. Oh. Glad you reminded me. When's your next birthday, John? I'll get it learned as quickly as I can. I know it's my dad's birthday, so I'm a little late. What? That's a perfectly acceptable reason to be late. March 4th. All right, I'll add this to my list of learns. I'll have it ready for you by March 4th, John. Sooner if I can. Burl Ives, the Golden Vanity. I'll see what I can do. All right. So for friends everywhere, I should be able to find it, Matty. I should be able to find it. Move this into there. We're gonna put that away. Let me see if I can find her real quick. Cryptid roots. There she is. All right, we'll give Matty's friend a raid. Praise the bones, YouTube. I'll look it up, John. All right, friends, this is where we're ending for tonight. I appreciate all of you who have come in and shown love, for everybody who tipped the tavern keeper and everyone who spent time tonight. Val throwing a bunch of roses on the stage as I'm running out. Thank you kindly, love. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Give your dad a big happy birthday from the tavern. John, thank you for the rose, my friend. I appreciate you. You guys are far too generous. Thank you, my friends. All right, boys and girls, lads and lassies, gentlemen and ladies. I hope that you all will spend the rest of your weekend and your week doing something that you love, and even if you don't love the thing that you're doing, do it with love. And for now, I will say I appreciate you all. See you all back on Tuesday. There will be a great many more story times between now and then, even if I'm not live for all of them. But thank you all, my friends, for being here this fine and wonderful evening. I appreciate all of the conversation and the wonder that we get into together. And until the next time that we all gather here in the tavern, I will bid you all stay bloodthirsty, my friends, and I will see you next time. Good night and farewell for the evening. Thank you so much for being here, my friends.
English as a young girl would fit here, right? So the Scarlet would be like a girl. Tilly making way out of the group. And she made her way out. Several other teams that she must have known. Oh my goodness. Hello, Raiders. Welcome on in. And then here, instead of the older female, it could be the older woman, because that's